Hi students, this video tip is about your activity called Strengths and Weaknesses, or as I like to call it, Strengths and Areas for Improvement. So you can see at the beginning there are some instructions explaining the whole notion of being self-aware, and then there are three sections. In part one, we're going to focus on our strengths. In part two, we'll focus on our weaknesses, and in part three, we'll focus on some transformation strategy. So let's go back to the first section, which is on strengths. And here you can see you're going to be identifying three strengths that you bring to the table. Now, please don't just list a one or two word descriptor or a one sentence summary. I would like you to not only identify the strength, but I also want you to explain by giving examples, by showing me how you exhibit, how you display this strength. Okay, so again, not 1 to 2 word descriptors. The second component of this is please try to focus on things within you that you bring to the table in a college classroom, in a job. Although sometimes people say that, things outside of themselves bring them strength, I want you to focus on things that you personally give to a task, to your studies, to a job. So an example that I would like not to see would be if you say a strength of yours is, for example, faith or God. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing to say because it does in fact give you strength. But I want you to focus on something that you bring, not something that something else is giving you and providing fuel. Another example of what not to say would be something like your children are your strength. Again, this is bringing something outside of yourself and claiming that as a characteristic that you bring to the world. What does your children may indeed give you strength, but then what strength do you give to others is what I'm looking for. So make sure you're focusing on an inner quality within you. The second section, very similar. Please not only identify your three weaknesses, but explain them. Give me examples from your life. Give me evidence. Showcase how this is true, how this is definitely a quality. Again, not a 1 to 2 word descriptor. And in the weaknesses, some of the examples of things that I don't want to hear are things that are more temptations, things that you give into. So please don't give me an example as a weakness being that you give into bread or carbs or your cell phone or you give into women. What we want to focus is again on internal traits. If you're saying that you always give in to playing Xbox or taking a nap or you're giving into your cell phone, what are the inner qualities that you're saying that you lack? Do you lack focus? Are you easily distracted? So focus on the trait within you that leads to those kinds of scenarios where you're giving into things. Okay, so those are the kinds of weaknesses. Then in part 3, you're going to pick one of your weakness. You do not need to pick all of them, just pick one of them. And I need you to come up with a strategy of something specific, something concrete, something measurable that you can start doing today, tomorrow, next week that starts chipping away at that weakness. Now, the tip on the strategy is please do not be vague, okay? I need you to be very specific so I can, in fact, measure it. So sometimes people tell me, oh, I have a trouble with procrastination. I put things off to the last minute. So their strategy is, I'm going to work on my time management. That is very lame and generic and doesn't say anything. So, what are you going to do to work on your time management? Lay out a specific plan of action. For example, you're going to buy a calendar and you're going to list all your priorities, all your responsibilities, the dates and times. If you have trouble with procrastination, you're going to actually keep track of your life every 15 minutes for 1 week, and you're going to make a pie chart to identify how you spend your time, and then you're going to look at where the time is spent wasting your time, and you're going to pick one of those areas where you waste your time and you're going to eliminate it from your schedule. So I want to very specific, concrete step for that third part where you are coming up with a strategy. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to ask.